everyone. Welcome back to Roleplay Central. We're here in the same location, but with our new table. We'll show you that later. But we're here for another episode of the podcast, and we're going to go over the one of our original subclasses, along with the new Unearthed Arcana that just got released a few days ago.
Playtest 8. It's the
8,
Bastions.
Yeah.
Bastions and Cantrips.
Yep. And
then we're going to build a...
Yep, we're going to build a brand new
the monk
subclass
that we talked about last time, which is the way of deflection, is what we're going to talk about.
Yep.
About about building it.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start off with our subclass to get things out of the way. So the one we want to talk about today is the Whirlwind Rogue. And I was going to say monk, but it's not a monk, it's a rogue. But the first ability of it at 3rd level is you can use an action to create a line of wisping air that stretches 30 feet wide and 5 feet in length. It lasts for 1 minute, and then when a creature on the opposite side of this line of the air gets attacked with a ranged spell or weapon attack, that creature gets a temporary +2 to their AC, which immediately fades after the attack. This ability can be used an amount of times equal to your dexterity modifier before you must finish a long rest. So the flavor of this was more or less Yasuo from League of Legends, that wind wall he can make. I kind of tried to make something a little bit similar.
Mm-hmm. Was it an action or a bonus action?
An action. So this would be one of the only things you can do on your turn.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things are actions with this class, though.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't do multiple things with it. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds all right.
Yeah, it's just preventing an attack from hitting, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Is all it does.
I think it'd be better if it was a bonus action. Kind of
we could.
Is it shield? Is that the one?
That would be
reaction. Or if like Yasuo's wall, it actually block projectiles. Well, it does stand up for a little bit. It stands up for a minute, but like if it actually blocked the projectile instead of just increasing the other person's AC.
Yeah. For those watching, this was a release that we did early on when we first started Metagames Press.
This is one that he wrote and I edited on.
Yeah. And then we move all the way to 9th level, which is Mask Location. Is the name of the ability. At 9th level, as an action, you can choose a target creature or object within 20 feet of you and switch places with it. If the target is a creature, then it must make a Constitution saving throw of the DC being 10 plus your proficiency bonus plus your dexterity modifier, or else be restrained for a round, and this ability can be used twice before finishing a long or short rest. So swap places with something.
Mm-hmm.
In a pinch, you can get out of dodge.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and then 13th level, Gone with the Wind. At 13th level, you become immune to the restrained condition, so you're a lot harder to keep in place. Additionally, when you use your cunning action to dash, you can instead fly up to 30 feet. So a lot of movement with that one. The final ability at level 17 is Wind Cyclone. At 17th level, you may use your action to create a column of swirling air with a radius of 25 feet that quickly swirls around you for 1 minute. You are immune to this column of air, but when an enemy creature enters or starts its turn inside of the area, when you make the first attack against that creature, each turn, add an additional damage die when you roll for damage.
I remember for a long time, it took me a long time to get because for a long time this was poison damage, and it took me a while to convince him not to use poison because nothing in the subclass has to do with poison, and then all of a sudden there's poison.
Yeah.
So eventually I got him off the poison thing.
Yeah, this is one of the first things we released, and this was, my entrance into making D&D stuff. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I think overall it's good. I think we could probably improve the 17th level feature. Just because it's 17th level, it's like the beginning of the 4th tier. So I mean, that's when a lot of classes are getting really powerful features. So we could probably increase the power.
Yeah. And also the wind wall, like John said, we can consider maybe bonus action or reaction. Reaction could be good, but 3rd level is that like maybe we would have to swap abilities around maybe to different levels. I don't know if that's too powerful for level 3 to be able to have that as a reaction.
Well, I mean, usually rogues get something pretty good at 3 for their archetype.
Yeah.
Usually it's 9th level that gets a little less of a powerful feature. Right, and then it starts to build up again.
Well, overall, the class was going for being had extreme movement, and you know, that was the basis of the class from the start, and I think it accomplished that at the time. But it may need some adjustment, which is perfectly fine, and I'm hoping to do that soon, along with maybe even that Phantasm Warlock that you might have seen if you are a fan of our content on DM's Guild as well. But
okay,
yeah, let's get to the playtest
the Bastion
material.
What did you hear about it? I know you saw some of the video.
Yeah, I just watched part of the video. Just
of the video intro for it.
Yeah.
So basically, what got released in the playtest was a sort of stronghold system where you can, as a group, as your party, can create a home base of sorts.
It sort of reminds me of the house building in Skyrim. How you can just
which I think is kind of funny in my opinion, because I feel like you'd have to do that all with the DM anyway. And so it's more of a DM's discretion sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of DMs already allow people to own strongholds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I guess this it just adds guidelines, I guess.
Yeah, this just adds guidelines for it.
So you can run it based off of these guidelines, or just like everything.
One of the only features that I really didn't like was they made a feature where if you die, you can respawn the next day at dawn in your bastion. And they limited the amount of times that you can use it. Like, you can only use it once per level. But still, I mean, it's kind of weird. You have to level up before you can use it again. So you can use it once per level. I didn't like that.
Yeah. I think
I don't want to
like in Minecraft. You make a bed, you sleep in it. Hey, you got respawn.
I mean, you might as well just make that a mechanic in your game if you're going to allow this. Just a bed mechanic where they can just. This is my bed.
I did mention this to you the other day that I think this is a good system for running businesses. Like, because you can add on different things and unlock.
You'd have to customize more options for it.
Yeah, and the important thing is, like, when you open your stronghold or whatever your bastion, as they call it, things can happen to it, and that's like perfect for a business. Like, people can steal your stuff, maybe, or you know, your inventory gets destroyed, or something like that. And you know,
could you imagine just running an entire campaign where that's all your party does? I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Where that's it. Your party just makes this bastion.
Yeah.
And then that's the rest of the campaign.
Yeah, they just run the bastion for the rest of the campaign.
You mean Acquisitions
Incorporated? I love Acquisitions Incorporated. But yeah, another thing that I don't like is that adding things onto your bastion is like a leveled thing. Like, it seems to me that like if you wanted to add something to it, and you had the money, the resources, and the time, you should be able to add it regardless of your level, right? But it has that restricted by level, and I think that's too restrictive.
And also, I think it's just like...
I think it should be based off of what resources you have.
Resources and time.
Yeah.
Because if you have resources all around where you set up...
if you have the resources...
You've got trees, you've got rock, you've got, or stone, whatever,
Yeah, and you've
got...
And
all this stuff, and you have people that you pay...
Yeah, then you should be able to add whatever you want to it as long as you can afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you pay a carpenter like a monthly sum, you know, or whatever.
But I mean, those two things are easily fixable, right?
Yeah.
The problems that I have with it.
One thing I think could be cool, but also is kind of like needs some work, is that acquiring magic items section.
Yeah.
Where they have costs a certain amount of bastion points to get a certain level of item. But
yeah, you collect.
Listen to the bastion point costs. Like
you collect magic. You collect bastion points every week, basically in game.
Yeah, and
that's how you collect
them. To get a common magic item, it's 20. To get a legendary, it's 700. Like, and I don't know how many you get. I forget how much you get every week.
Wait,
but
you just collect an item?
Yeah, well, yeah. If you collect enough points, you can just trade it for items to somebody.
That seems weird.
Yeah, it's like
weird.
Yeah, they're going for a you get everything under the sun in a stronghold. It seems like
it sounds like they're
you
trying
can have
to make
a
it
war room. You can
more
have
like a
you
video
can have
game
a kitchen
than anything.
Well, this does facilitate like the type of play where you just sit there and run a business basically as a game.
I mean, like a lot of these special facilities that they have too are like arcane study, armory, barracks, garden, library, sanctuary, smithy, storehouse, workshop, gaming hall, greenhouse, laboratory, you know, stuff like that, stables. It's like, I think this would work with a little bit more work than maybe it's worth, depending on how people like to play it. Their version of D&D. This for a business would work so much better. Like all of these rooms could just be like more inventory. Like you just purchase your inventory with your bastion.
Well, I mean, you can do that with this system.
Yeah.
What were you saying, John?
Oh, I was just thinking like different ways you could, because I don't feel like needing to upgrade your city or whatever. I think it should be based off more gold and
resources, gold,
else, you know,
time. Yeah.
Because could you imagine if you were running like an evil campaign and you just went and got like a bunch of slaves or something, or like you enslaved like a bunch of kobolds or something to just work for you?
Just start a cult.
Yeah. Or you start a cult and then and then you don't gotta pay anybody. You just
and then you become the bad guys.
Yeah.
And then you have adventurers coming to try to challenge you.
Yeah.
One reason I'm being so like negative about it, or just so hard on this bastion system, is because, in my opinion, for a home or something for adventures, I think that should be a narrative thing as opposed to being a structured thing that has rules. Like, it should be up to you and your DM how your house looks, and you build a stronghold even that way, and then he or she, your DM, will put their own cost on how much this room costs or this thing costs, and in order to
which I think should be fairly priced. Because you think about it, like even like
I would
military people in most campaigns, at least the ones that I've played, like they might get paid 20 gold a month, if that.
Yeah, and
that's a lot of gold.
Yeah.
Them. So I feel like it would have to be reasonably priced because you probably wouldn't expect to pay 20 gold for somebody to start working on their house.
Well, and listen to this.
You'd have to think about, and that's why I think
understand it
that's why I think they
but
gave you costs associated with everything is because a lot of DMs just don't know how to price stuff.
Yeah, I like the fact that they did give costs. I would just rather they just gave a template of costs rather than like try to make a system that I don't know if everyone's going to use. People might try it out, but I think there's good aspects to it. Don't get me wrong, they have a lot of cool things, and they come up with a lot of stuff that I haven't even thought of. But like, I'm just looking at the costs of adding basic feature or facilities. To get a vast facility, which is the biggest one, costs 3,000 gold and it takes 125 days to complete. So like, for the vast majority of campaigns, unless you're playing for literal years in real life, and you're playing from level 1 to level 20, this isn't really going to be your best system because you're not going to get, like John said, enough money from even having jobs in the game. Like, because the pay and stuff is not even close to what you'd need to be able to.
And it's a little bit of an incentive. It's a little bit of an incentive to go out and look for treasure too.
Well, and I feel like you could kind of makeshift your own ways of doing it. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of D&D in its own right. It's basically just these are the guidelines that you can run off of, but you do your own thing. You know, that's why homebrew is such a popular thing. But
yeah, and this is just a play test, so like there could be plenty of room for all this to change. Maybe not even
they seem pretty excited about it. So
yeah,
but I could see like, for instance, if you were to set up like a mill or something like that, and you paid like somebody to come out and just start milling stuff for you, and you say, hey, I'll give you a portion of the profits if you'll just mill.
Yeah.
And then
like that game hall
like you could create like an entire city
built around
a keep that you start you start a keep and then you just kind of expand it and just keep growing it.
That could literally be an entire campaign,
of you just building and then you're pulling taxes from everybody. You're pulling a portion of cells if you want it,
as detailed as you want to get with it.
Yeah. So I mean, there's plenty of ways that you could technically be making like tons of gold and be able to pay for it anyway. But
it's a pretty flexible system.
Yeah.
Right. You can add on to it, like you can add features to it and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. My final thought on it is just like I said, is like, in my opinion, the whole house and everything should be a narrative sort of, DM and player driven sort of thing, as opposed to a structured rules based thing. But for a business, I think this would work really well for a business, and like it already has the basic structure of a business. Like for instance, the gaming hall facility that you can add on, that would be a good place to, like, if people want to go play dice or whatever games exist in your world, then there's a surcharge to get into here that has this and this you can use, and plenty of people that hang out all the time. Or maybe you build a tavern inside of that, or something like that, and they buy drinks. But
I feel like it would have to be, you'd have to really figure out how that would all work, because like, for instance, if you had like a magic shop, I wouldn't imagine they'd be selling a ton of stuff, right? I mean, I guess it just depends on the setting that you're in. But like, if it's not a super magic driven setting, or like how many people are going to be buying swords all the time? You know? Like, your blacksmith is going to be making this for an army.
Yeah, you would need to do like what he said, like literally build a town or a city around it, so that they depend on the stuff that you're producing. Yeah. Create demand.
Yeah, and I'm just looking like,
but you could create an entire army.
Like you need like hirelings for certain areas to be able to even get it going and get it set in the first place. And like the cost is, I can just tell, is way too massive. I think even for a fictional game like D&D, I think even though we assign realistic.
That's why you literally create an economy around it. Yeah, you have to create the demand for the supply, and then you have to supply, right? You have to create the entire thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
which would probably be your party's job to go out, find treasure. You use that to sell,
to fund it initially, at least. Yeah, to fund the entire operation, and then
you bring in basic necessities.
That sounds fun to me.
Build off of there.
Hey, that sounds like a fun part to me. And then let's
cantrips.
Yeah, talk about the cantrips. I gotta go down the bottom of this document. There's 10 cantrips that changed.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% certain on what
they
were before.
They turned conjuration into an evocation spell instead of a conjuration spell, which I figure is a toss up either way. It could be both. It says it can now affect any creature caught in it. It's a 5 foot area. They nerfed a couple of them, Which is funny. Chill Touch technically got a nerf because they turned it into a touch spell, but it's called Chill Touch. So thematically, it's more more in line.
Makes more sense.
It's more in line with what it was, but it's a nerf because they just reduced the range. So now you literally have to touch the person.
But honestly, how hard is it to get close in combat with somebody?
And then I know they nerfed. I heard that they nerfed Shocking Grasp. Let me see.
Shocking Grasp now shuts down opportunity attacks rather than all reactions.
Yeah, it used to shut down all reactions for a round, but now it just shuts down opportunity attacks.
They do say this cantrip was always meant to be meant to provide a partial disengage, which still does in this version, but it doesn't, completely
eliminate everything.
Eliminate all your reactions.
It's a partial disengage.
And then they turned one that I really don't like. They turned Poison Spray into an attack roll instead of a saving throw, because it's poison is almost always a saving throw, but in this instance they turned it into an attack.
Yeah,
it still deals the same amount of damage.
I do like the range increase on it though.
It is technically a buff because now because Constitution is typically a pretty strong save.
Mm-hmm.
So making an attack roll is
Makes
actually I think it's a buff, but I think it's a miss because poison's normally a save. Then I don't know what else did they do, Shiloh?
Blade Ward is now a reaction that imposes disadvantage on creatures' melee attack roll. So I don't know what I imagine it didn't do that before. That's also
I think before it gave resistance, right?
Yeah,
I think
don't
so.
know. But I do like the change to friends.
What did that get changed?
The target has to make a save. It's being charmed briefly.
That's not how it was.
If you're not making a save to be charmed, then there's some
So yeah, what Blade Ward did was until the end of your next turn, you have resistance against bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage by weapon attacks. That's what it did. But what were you saying about friends? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying if you're going to be charmed and it's not like a saving throw, then there's a problem. Because
is there no saving throw?
Well, there wasn't. I don't think. I don't have the previous version of the spell here. If one of you want to look up what it was, maybe.
I think before it just gave you advantage on charisma checks against the person.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, and there wasn't a save. It just gave you advantage
so it now
on
then
charisma
charms.
checks.
It now charms and gives a save for being charmed.
Does it still have that thing where they know that you did it and they're mad at you? That's basically what it was before.
Well, it says if you have cast this spell on a target, then you can't target them again for 24 hours.
Okay, so it's not the thing where they notice anymore.
So here, I'll just read the spell and we'll see what happens. What we think. You magically emanate a sense of friendship toward one visible creature within range. The target will succeed a Wisdom saving throw or have the charm condition for the duration, which is up to 1 minute in its concentration. The target succeeds automatically if it isn't a humanoid, if you're fighting it, or if you have cast a spell on it within the past 24 hours. The spell ends early if the target takes damage, or if you make an attack roll, deal damage, or force anyone else to make saving throw. So
it doesn't have the clause where they're mad at you anymore.
If they're not a humanoid,
I'm pretty sure that's what it was before. It's like they knew that you had charmed them, and so that here, let me.
Yeah, now I don't know. Is that slightly worse or easier or better? Now, it's like before it was when this spell. This is after the description of the spell. It says when the spell ends, the creature realizes that you use magic influence on it,
and its mood becomes hostile toward you. So it literally gets angry at you after. So they kind of buffed it in that way. So they're not getting mad at you anymore.
Yeah, because
it says a creature prone to violence might attack you.
Yeah, but now you can't target non-humanoid creatures.
Yeah.
And if you're fighting it, it won't work. And if you cast the same spell on it within the past 24 hours, it won't work. They'll automatically succeed.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know if that's a buff or a nerf.
Well, I mean, it's like a buff in that they're not mad at you anymore.
Yeah.
For using it.
But it's the first part that, like,
yeah.
If it's on a non-humanoid creature, then that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other, one thing I like is just some sort of a templating thing.
Yeah.
They say, instead of saying, I think they were saying at higher levels previously, they now just say cantrip upgrades. This spells damage or whatever does this at this level.
Yeah.
I just like that templating better, but that's just a me thing.
Yeah.
What do you think, John? Anything you,
Have you seen the cantrips?
Just what we've
talked about.
Spare the Dying is now ranged rather than a touch spell. True Strike is now an attack with a weapon that uses your spellcasting ability rather than strength or dexterity.
So they turned it into more like Booming Blade, Green Flame Blade. You have to actually use a weapon.
Produce Flame is now a bonus action, but
Cool.
the attack portion is still an action.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then Shillelagh, which I don't really know what that does, to be honest.
It's just an empower. Basically, just empowers your weapon.
Yeah, it now improves at higher levels, and it gives you the option of dealing force damage or the weapon's normal type.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's cool. And Poison Spray, he already said. Friends we've already talked about. Acid Splash is the only other one.
That's what I talked about originally.
Yeah. Was Acid Splash or Poison Spray?
I talked about both.
Oh, okay.
That was the first cantrip that we talked about was Acid Splash.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, the Conjuration.
Yeah, they changed it. But yeah, I don't think it matters necessarily. You could call it either way.
Yeah. So that's the playtest.
So now we are to the monk.
Yeah, we're gonna make a subclass now. The monk
For the
subclass, Deflector Monk.
No. So first, so you know what we were talking about buffing deflect missiles for this for this monk, right? We're talking about buffing it, and I figured that because they get deflect missiles at 3, we don't want to give them that at 3, the buff. Right. We want a progression, so I put it at 11th level, and I basically just did what we suggested, or what we were talking about. This is how I have it written out, anyways. When you use deflect missiles, you no longer need to reduce the damage to 0 in order to deflect or catch the missile. Instead, you only have to reduce the damage by half to catch or deflect the missile, and you reduce the damage to 0 for you. So like you're still absorbing all the damage, but you only have to actually reduce it by half.
Yeah.
What do we think about that?
I like.
You think that's okay at 11th?
Mm-hmm. The stuff I have might conflict with the level. I mean,
I only have notes for 6th, 11th, and 17th. I haven't come up with anything for 3rd level.
I didn't put any levels towards the 3 suggestions that I have, but I figured we could figure that out.
But are we cool with that being 11th level? The 11th level feature.
Yeah, sure.
You think? Okay, so that was good. So what did you come up? Do you want to read one of your features?
Yeah. So I mentioned this to you the other day.
And then
I think maybe giving them proficiency in deception or persuasion, because deflecting can also, instead of meaning physically, bouncing something off of you or whatever, could also mean being a good liar or something. So you have proficiency in
and that can be something that you get at 3rd, right? Because typically you get some kind of feature, and then you also get some kind of like bonus proficiencies.
There's also something.
So you could give that what?
What if it's sleight of hand?
You could also do sleight.
Another thing in the same ability, I wanted to say add your monk level to insight checks.
Add your monk level. Yeah, you could do that.
So, like, as you get later in level, you're just amazing at telling people, telling if people are lying or being deceptive. And, you know.
Okay.
I just think that's kind of cool. To be able to have that kind of be like you're learning.
Yeah. I would say add your monk level. Did you say monk level?
Monk level, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Was that all for that feature?
Yeah, for that feature.
Another thing that I had, I called I'm rubber, you're glue. I remember telling him about this.
I remember that
and I have this as the 17th level feature because it's more powerful. If you're dealt damage, you can spend 3 key points and use your reaction to deflect all of that damage back at the source. The damage dealt to you is reduced to 0, and the source takes all the damage. So basically, you absorb and redirect the damage back to them. I thought that sounded cool, and then I thought that just so that doesn't take over for basically all of your reactions, I had to give it a usage limit, right? So I figured twice per short or long rest.
Yeah,
worked. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm always a fan, like especially with stuff like that could potentially be very powerful. So
well, especially at 17th level, you want to give them something good.
Yeah.
At 17th, to incentivize them to stay in the class instead of multi-classing.
Yeah, I like that.
What else do you have?
My next thing is a new stance. Deflection stance. I wrote it out as if we were making this an ability. So, as an action, you can enter this stance until the beginning of your next turn. You can deflect missiles in an area with a radius of 15 feet. When you deflect something, it instantly disappears and does not require you to hold it in one hand. You cannot throw the attack back, and you can use this ability once per day. Afterwards, you can spend 3 key points to use the ability again.
So it disappears, and you can't throw it back?
It's essentially you enter a stance, and you're able to do magic missile, or not. I keep calling it magic missile. Deflect missile. In a range of an area of 15 feet around you, and then the main difference being, it specifically says in deflect missiles that you have to catch the thing in with one hand, so you can maximum do 2 at once. This will allow you to do it as much as you want. You just have to pay 3 key points after the first use.
With deflect missiles, you can only actually do 1 at a time.
I thought Beauregard caught 2.
That might be a Cobalt Soul feature. But you can only catch 1 missile at a time with it.
Yeah, this is just making it so that the attacks just vaporize and disappear, so that you don't have to use your hands to stop it.
Okay. If you just make that an ability, that
you could
instead just maybe you could put that at level 3.
But
and just say you can take
but you want the
and you don't have to use any. You don't have to use key points. That way, then you're not going through all your key points in one in one sitting. You know.
Okay, so so we should do that at 3. You think? Okay.
Because then it gives you more options. Because I feel like if everything was based around your key points for this, then you kind of
which
you use all your key points, and then what are you going to do?
And I have another ability to help with key points, because that will spend key points like crazy if you use it often. So,
well, I think you just give. I think that what you just described would work, but you reduce the key. You reduce the key cost because you don't need that much of key cost. I think you just give it an amount of uses per day.
Okay. Yeah, it's already set to once per day unless you use more key points.
I think I would go more uses, like maybe proficiency bonus times per day. That way it scales up.
Okay.
At
least.
Yeah.
Right, because once per day is super limiting.
Yeah. Well, that's the point. It's like you want to. It's like I wanted to give more use for key points. Is what I'm going for. But
well, you make
it
cost. And
just make it an action that you can take.
Well, it depends.
It's just a base action. That you can take.
He wants to use more key points. You want to use less. So I don't know.
I'm just worried, because if you use all your key points, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then it's like, I can run around and punch people.
And I have the
4 damage.
I have the 17th level feature using key points, and the 11th level feature is no more than your regular deflect missiles. So
Also,
I mean, this
I
one
think
could
it should-
cost key, right? And then maybe 6th level feature doesn't use key.
You should also be able to deflect melee attacks.
That could be a thing. Deflecting melee.
Yeah.
Do you think we do that at 3?
Except for maybe with
Or do you
melee
think we do
attacks,
that
you
at
don't
6?
deal any damage to them, and you don't actually like grab the weapon. Maybe they just lose the weapon.
So this is what I
Or
had for
drop it.
this is what I had for 6. This might have have utility here. I had patient defense no longer costs you key to use.
I like that.
So basically, as a bonus action, you can take the dodge action for free. Right, which would increase your ability to deflect, basically, or to avoid melee attacks. Right, so that would step in for that.
Yeah.
Or we could write a feature and put it at 3rd that also allowed you to deflect melee attacks. What do you guys think?
I'm cool with it. I have no.
Or I mean, you could go with his stance idea and do multiple stances, right? You have one stance that's like an AoE thing, like you're talking about. You have another stance that lets you deflect melee attacks, right? You have 2 stances as a part of this 3rd level feature. What if we did that?
Yeah, I like
and
that.
we made it
Let's
cost.
do that.
Yeah.
Let's do. You can enter one of multiple stances.
Yeah, one of the 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then does it cost to go into the stance? That's what we need to figure out. Does it cost to use the feature?
It would cost.
It's between you two, because you two are the ones that are.
I just think it would cost your action to go into a stance.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay. So yeah, the stance thing is just an action, and it lasts like a minute. Or what? How long does it last?
Until your next turn.
Oh, it lasts until your next
I
turn.
put until the beginning of your next turn on this one.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and then I think we go proficiency bonus per short or long.
Yeah.
Right. And then we also do the proficiency in what was it? Deception, persuasion, and the bonus to insight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's pretty good.
I also had another idea.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this will be anything, but this wasn't templated as an ability.
Yeah.
Just gather key points from attacks and use key points to add bonuses to damage and to hit and attack damage you do.
That sounds like you could write like an alternate feature for monk.
Yeah, but
like maybe not like attached to this subclass.
Yeah, my theory was the more you get attacked, the more key points you just keep building up. Like you build up a certain amount of key points per X amount of damage.
That could be another subclass, one that like absorbs damage and turns it into key.
Yeah, we could make that a whole separate thing.
The key battery.
The key battery.
The way of the Energizer. What? The way of the Energizer Bunny.
But yeah, that's
you give him proficiency in the drum. The way of the Energizer Bunny.
When you use this archetype, you get it.
Yeah. You get proficiency in drums. Yeah, you get proficiency in drums. And you can absorb damage and turn it into key.
I like it. We're already on a good.
You can also, I mean, there's ways we could use that. But do you guys think that sounds good? What we have technically 2 features that use key, and the rest of them don't use key. So I mean, that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair.
We have all the levels covered.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we go with what we said, yeah.
Cool.
With everything covered.
Yeah, I like it.
Sweet. Got anything else?
I don't have anything else at the moment. Do you? Either of you?
No. Next next time we're going to cover the new D&D book, the Planescape book.
Mm-hmm. Yep, be on the lookout for that. We are going to be covering. What's the title of it?
I don't know what the title of the book is.
Okay.
Everybody knows what the new book is that's coming out. I mean, if you've seen any of the recent videos on the Wizards, then you know what's coming next.
All right. Well, I think we will end it off there.
Am I out of frame when I lean back?
Yeah.
So I've just been popping in and out.
Just like our rogue subclass. But anyways, thanks everyone for watching this episode. It's another short one.
That subclass I think will be up on the blog.
Yeah.
If that's cool with everybody.
Yeah, that's
you guys
fine,
want to post it on the blog?
We've talked about all the abilities, so there's no reason to put it on.
We'll post the subclass on the blog.
Yep, it'll be up on the blog.
And it'll be on the Pinterest. It'll be on the blog. It'll be everywhere.
Yeah, and that'll be
soon.
Will that be the second or third thing on the blog that we've released, like subclass wise? Because we released
we've released a few
preservations.
My Beastmaster Ranger is on the blog.
Beastmaster Ranger.
Your preservation wizard that you made is on the blog. Well, I know
you fixed Sorcerer, but that's not.
No, that's not a subclass. That's just a few suggestions for fixing it.
Yeah. I think this will be the third one that we have on there, subclass wise. For
really.
Yeah. But everyone keep an eye out for that. We will be putting it up shortly. And
the one claw from last week is on there.
Oh, okay.
The one claw. Based on the bone claw.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do keep in mind shortly, here in the next probably couple months or maybe even a month, we can announce something pretty big that we're working on. So keep an eye out for that once again. But thanks everyone once again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.